the day. The plan usually for a podcast is to have a conversation, a discussion about different things. Now, I live in LA. I don't surf. I don't surf. I don't snowboard. I used to, but no. Anything that requires me to quickly jump on my feet from there, I don't do. I do burpees, but that has nothing to do with it. It's my knees. They don't really like it. But where do you find good waves near Tokyo?
Okay, thanks for asking. So first, I just started surfing very recently, and this is because I met this like InsurTech entrepreneur last November, and he has been like telling me how amazing surfing is a couple of times, and I decided to give it a try. It has been very amazing. So I think the good waves near Tokyo, there are two places. One is in Kanagawa prefecture, called Shonan beaches. I think that place is more like for beginners, like very gentle waves. And also there is the Chiba prefecture. I think they have more different ranges of waves for beginners and also more advanced people. Both are like 1 to 2 hours drive from Tokyo.
So at what point do you think that you're going to buy an old cheap Jeep Wrangler and just have a few boards there just waiting for you to go to the beach? Is that like in the near future, or it may take a while?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I think I would like that, like to, live somewhere near there and I can go surfing. I actually kind of try to visit Bali this May to surf because I heard it's really famous for that too.
Oh, that's cool. Okay, enough from the chit chat. I always love to start the conversation about things that we love and care. And I hope that you'll have good waves as you continue with your journey
Thank
of,
you.
maybe a professional surfer. Let's talk more about you, Plug and Play, and of course, your collaboration with ITC Japan. Now, you've been with Plug and Play for a few years now, right? I remember I was there before COVID and had the opportunity to present my startups on your stage. How did you end up in Japan and working for Plug and Play?
Thank you. So I came to Japan first for college. And then
Hmm.
after that, I joined a one of the big life insurance companies here, like a domestic one. So that was pretty not my original plan. I think they just happened to came to my campus and gave this recruiting like meeting to tell about what they are doing. So they mentioned they want to expand more globally because the domestic market is going to shrink as the population is going to shrink in Japan in the long term. So it's like, oh, that
Hmm.
sounds interesting. I would like to do some work related to global expansion. So I joined the company. And I was very lucky to be in the M&A team to buy a life insurance company in the States. And then I went to business school. That's where I met these insurtech startups called Surify. So they were based in Silicon Valley, but
Hmm.
there were some like Japanese insurers showed interest to know more about their service. So I did my part-time job there for 1 year, helped them to do the meetings with Japanese insurers. At first, I was very amazed that there are like, insurtech startups are trying to make the industry more modern and more customer friendly because the industry is like really very human labor heavy and also very conservative. Um, so I kind of thought, oh, that's the future of the industry. I really want to know more about it. And the second thing I learned was like there was this huge gap between Japanese insurers and global insurtech startups to work together, especially back then. I think it's the different level of the product maturity they are talking about, the security level, and also the mindset of moving things forward to make changes because startups really need to move fast and make big changes, and the big corporations, they feel like uncomfortable or like a lot of risk to deal with to make those kind of decisions. And I wanted to be in that world to help those two different parties to come together to work better so that our customers, policyholders can have better service. And that's why I joined Plug and Play 2 months ago.
3 days and 2 hours. Okay. Now, you actually, and so for people, I will be surprised that people are not familiar with Plug and Play. Plug and Play started by Said. I forgot his
Yes,
and
Saeed
the entire
Amidi.
family. The entire family in Sunnyvale, and they have offshoots in a couple of locations around the globe. One of them is in Shibuya. Uh, what what is Plug and Play, and what is the focus of Plug and Play Tokyo? I think, don't you have also in Osaka? Yeah, I think that there is another one in
Yes,
Osaka.
we do. Thank you. Okay, so I will talk more about my understanding of Plug and Play. So I think at first for people who work here, I think it's like really a place you can leverage yourself to do whatever you want to do here. So for me, I wanted to build the Plug and Play is the best place for me to do this, because Plug and Play does venture capital, investing in startups, and also provides like acceleration program to support startups to work with corporations better and develop their business. And also we have this big ecosystem of like big corporations who want to innovate themselves. So I think it's very important to have those different stakeholders come together and have the same goal of innovate the industry. And then we have our employees who are coming from different backgrounds. So some are from consulting, some are from VCs, some are from startups. And for me, I'm originally from the traditional insurance industry. So we just or like think about how we can do this from different perspectives. I don't think we have a manual book of like how we should do this, but everyone has the mission, and the company provides the platform. So a lot of I think people are have the same mindset to innovate industry, just to come together to provide this ecosystem. So everyone comes in, they feel like they have some one to talk to and to figure out what to do together. I hope you felt the same when you were in Shibuya. So Japan office started like six a few months ago. 6 years, I mean, 6 years and a few months ago.
Hmm.
And at first, we try to bring more like global startups coming to Japan, and also to help the domestic corporations to innovate themselves by working with the global startups and understand the global trends. And then now we do so much more than that, including like support domestic startups to go abroad, and also to support like the domestic startups. Yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Hmm. Of course. So, let's talk a little bit more about Japan, especially when you are describing those challenges internally, externally, and also supporting Japanese startups to go abroad. I assume, when you say abroad, is it the US market? Is it other Southeast Asia, China, India? What would be abroad for you? Are you targeting also the African or the European market?
Thank you. So that's a very good question, and it really depends on the entrepreneur's backgrounds and also the business, I would say. So, for example, we have this healthcare startup like focused on early detection of diabetes. They have this like world top technology, and they are like focusing on US market expansion now, because US has this the similar problem of like big population who have like diabetes or like potential diabetes like people. And so for example, there are like entrepreneurs who are more focused on microfinance or like financial service those are like expanding into Southeast Asia more because the market there has the great needs of that. And also, I think there are like a lot of Japanese corporations are trying to do business there, so it's a better fit for them to do that there. So it really depends on the entrepreneurs' network and background, and also the industry, I would say.
So when we are looking at Japan, I, I love Japan. I've been there a few times and I do my best to visit Japan as much as possible. Sadly, this is going to be my first visit in March to Japan since COVID. And before COVID, we had the opportunity to visit you at least twice a year. And the more interesting thing about Japan, besides their very interesting history, is let's call it the modern history, which is from World War II, from devastation, growing to be an economic power in the 80s. And then all kinds of, recently there was a Japanese a spacecraft that landed on the moon. We're talking about on one side, cutting edge of innovation. On the other hand, conservative, they can do things that will be outside of the norm. However, and this is the beautiful about these contradictions, right? You go to a shop, and this is one of my favorite things. You have like I don't know, notebooks and pens and mascots and everything, and you try to understand what is this shop, and then they open a door, a small wall, it's like, oh, we are selling cake. They go like, holy shit, it's like, but everything is like perfect. So all these contradictions with the conservatism and tradition and innovation, where do we see the role of the big companies and the entrepreneurs? Where the space? How does it mesh all together?
Thank you. I totally agree. Like that's a great observation. And so I think sometimes we say there's a problem and then you fix it. And I think Japan has been fixing problems like so well that's now I think the service we're having here in almost every industry is like so mature and people are like very comfortable. So there is definitely like not so much incentive to make those big changes. So for example, if when we look at payments, like so Japan is adopting like digital payments much more slower than many other countries. Uh, but the reason behind that is like we have the credit cards like really so common here, and the traditional payment solutions, I think most customers are like very end users are very comfortable with them. So if you want to bring in something, the service has to be very matured. Like you shouldn't be like just trying out because people will be like, oh, then we will just prefer the old way, right? And because of that, I think not only the corporations, but it's really the end customers, like they are comfortable, so they don't want to change either. They don't have the surge to try new things either. So that's really the challenge in Japan to innovate in many industries. But if you look at it in a different way, actually that means we've been doing things so well, and so the society is like highly matured. But of course, there are like many opportunities for like startups or like corporations to innovate themselves. There are always opportunities. And also, I think what's very exciting here is the government has been like committed so much, especially the current government. I think 2 years ago we had this like 5 years plan to promote startups, and that's including building three like global city, which are like Tokyo, Osaka, and Fukuoka, to welcome the global startups to come in. We have like now changed the tax system and also the visa system for like global entrepreneurs to come in like easier. And also they provide like business matching service like for free for like global entrepreneurs. That means we want the diversity to look at Japan society in a different angle to build like better solutions. So I think that's very
Interesting.
yeah.
Interesting, because Japan is not well known for its immigration laws, or allowing for foreigners to come in and to stay for a long time and work in Japan. It's actually quite an ordeal from what I've heard. I usually go maximum of 2 weeks for a business and tourism and head back to the US. But it's that most definitely can inject a little bit of new blood, and especially when it comes to mindsets about how to run businesses or new startups. That will be a very interesting. I hope that there will be no clash within the mindsets of the current way people do business, and of course of the various entrepreneurs. Yeah, that will be interesting to see. Yeah, we will follow. We need to follow that.
Yeah, so thank you. Yes. So, for example, like I think now there is a generative AI startup called Sakana AI.
Mm-hmm.
Is having a lot of like getting a lot of attention, but that is like funded by one of the founding member from Google, and he cooperated this startup in Japan actually. But I think that has many good reasons to do so. One is I mentioned the government support, and based on the government support, like last year we had this big conference, like invited Andreessen Horowitz and Sequoia, all those world famous venture capitals to come in, because like Japan government realized that we really need different stakeholders to change the ecosystem, not only entrepreneurs or corporations. We need like those people who can really do risk investment, like those experts to come in from the States or like other countries to invest in the domestic startups too. So now I think we have great amount of capital and good investors who are even coming from global side. That's why the entrepreneurs are like funds like Japan is a better place to start business now too.
Now, my Japanese is rusty to not existent. Sakana doesn't mean fish.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, well, I wasn't sure. It's like fish AI, but yeah, no, that's cute. Um,
Yeah.
so before we talk about ITC Japan and the collaboration, um, and you touch already, and it's actually very interesting to see, especially when the government is trying to promote innovation and VC and venture capital. And I'm not familiar with the security laws in Japan and how they stand about that. So that's also something that needs to be done, and the right taxation and the right policies to, to provide those incentives and to put them in its place. And from what I've seen so far, the the folks who are leading it are the CVCs, the corporate venture capitals, and there are a few big companies, right, that will have not one, they will have a few different CVCs for different verticals and different industries, and a few will be early stage, a few will be for the growth stage. And when they are taking their step, and we've seen it especially within the InsurTech industry, if we are talking about Sumitomo, Sompo, Daiichi, and a few others, they will place or Tokyo Marine as well. They will send them to Silicon Valley. They will send them to Tel Aviv. A few of them will be also in London, and of course New York. But New York is more financial than, although the startup scene there is amazing. And they will send them there to learn, and they will do a smart rotation, so everyone will get a little bit. What do you think about that? How's the experience from, or what the feedback that you received from those programs? And then, of course, what do you think about the CVCs leading the way for the other VCs?
Yeah, thank you. So in Silicon Valley, especially with Plug and Play, we've been working with the satellite offices of Japanese insurers and now services. So we have seen like a big change there. Like so, for example, like maybe 8-9 years ago, that's when the Japanese insurers start to send 2 or 3 people in Silicon Valley to try to understand the trend there and bring back InsurTech there. But we really see they are not really so important in that ecosystem in Silicon Valley. They are more like visitors, like really just pick some information and bring it back to Tokyo. And when they say there are like interesting startups there, the headquarters is very difficult to make the decision to invest in them or like to work with them, because they actual business units are not ready to work with global startups either. And we say the people who work in the satellite office, they don't have decision-making power. So they've been suffer as well, because Silicon Valley startups are like moving very fast. Like if you are not going to do the decision, like why we're meeting with you. But then after a few years, we see like a few insurers like started their CVCs first. I think first was MSAD, and then Tokyo Marine. We have Nippon Life and Sumitomo Life now there, and Daiichi Life who are doing investment there as well. And I think they were able to change their structure to have like different degrees of decision making power there. Especially when we look at MSAD and Tokyo Marine, they're actually very active investors there, and they make their own decisions there. So there is a very interesting story. I heard the founder of MSAD CVC, he's called TAC. He's back in headquarters now, but he said he made this arrangement with headquarters. He said, okay, I will still give you the power of making the final decision of doing the investment or not. But there are like 2 conditions. The first is you have to reply like in 24 hours, no matter if it's holidays or like weekend, because in Silicon Valley the speed really matters. And then the second he said is like, I'm not going to ask you to agree for the like investment. You only have the power to deny the like investments. But if you make the deny, I will record everything in Excel. So if they start up like, grows really fast, like Google in the future, it will be your responsible to deny that deal. So I think like those are like really interesting ideas to have a like more ideal relationship with the headquarters, because I think until then, like it was very difficult for satellite offices to have that kind of negotiation power. And then they hired many local talents. I think that's really important to like, for example, like Tokyo Marine, they had a original founder of Metro Mile in their like investment team, so that can like really give insights of the InsurTech ecosystem in Silicon Valley to bring that insights back to Tokyo. And also what's more exciting is now we can see their capacity to not only invest in them, but also bring those investments back to Tokyo to expand their business there. So I think Daiichi Life and U Life, that's from Europe, but that's a great example. Like Daiichi Life is actually now very hands-only support U Life to expand their business in Japan. So I think that kind of capacity actually is more powerful than VC, especially for InsurTech, I think industry, because for InsurTech, it's actually really difficult for pure VCs to understand the industry's dynamic or like how different it is from other industries unless they have some experts there. And when they want to support those InsurTech startups business, it's actually difficult too. They still need to rely on the LP's power. But if you are a CVC, then you have the expertise to do the due diligence at first, and you can support their business like in a much easier way.
Are they are there general VCs that invest in InsurTech in Japan, or how's the VC non-CVC ecosystem looks like?
Okay, unfortunately, we don't have any VC that is like really focusing on InsurTech in Japan, but we have a couple of like famous VC. They do have a few like portfolio companies which are doing InsurTech. So I think one is called Caro Capital, which was like originally like 500 Japan. And they invested in Just In Case and also Hokan, which are the 2 biggest InsurTech startups in Japan now. But I think it's more really based on the entrepreneur and also the company's business itself rather than like InsurTech. we don't have a success case of IPO of like a real pure InsurTech startup in Japan. So I think that's also why it's kind of difficult for like VCs to commit on that domain so far.
Well, an IPO, as we learned from the first wave of American startups, um, none of them was really a success. So, a sell, to a bigger insurance company, that's also a success for the investors, right? So, any liquidation event of a merger acquisition or something like that, that they will get a nice return on their investment, that's a success for the investors. So it doesn't have to be going public, right?
Yeah,
What
totally
else?
agree.
What else can you tell us about the different tax centers in Japan? Is it only Tokyo? We mentioned Osaka, that you have another plug and play there. Other centers, and what's the difference between them?
Thank you. So yeah. So I think as I mentioned, like the government now has like three global financial center in Japan. One is Tokyo, one is Osaka, and one is Fukuoka. Actually, I think everyone has their different function and features. So for Tokyo, like undoubtedly we have the we have the financial service agency here, which is very important for the finance industry
Mhm.
to get their licenses and to do the communication with the regulators if necessary. So that's why we still see most of fintech insurtech startups will be in Tokyo, I think in the future as well. And also because of the FSAs here, like all the headquarters of big insurers are in Tokyo as well. So I guess that's very, very important for the startups to be in as well. So for Osaka, I think Osaka is a more
Hmm.
like I think like not only finance but more diverse the city. We have like many good makers there, and it's the we have many important ports there. So I think it's we do see the manufacturing industry there, and also we have the Osaka Expo coming up 2025. That makes like Osaka tries to be a smart city there. So when the smart city is being promoted by the ecosystem of big corporations and the government there, that means many factors will come in, like including mobility and healthcare, to actually make the smart city realize. And then that is where the fintech solution, like let's say payment or like embedded insurance or embedded finance, can come in. So there are some like business opportunities there as well. And last but not least, the Fukuoka. I think the Fukuoka has a very interesting geography, like position, because it's very close to Asian countries. It's like Southeast, and also it's like so close to Korea. I think you can take a ferry to only like 1 hour to go to Fukuoka, and also it's very close to Taiwan as well. So for many Asian countries, I think it's very easy to coming to Japan from Fukuoka first, and also the price of anything is much cheaper there than Tokyo. And I think Fukuoka government actually has the some of the best supporting policies there to for like global startups to come in. So I think either is like really interesting, and I really want to mention Fukuoka has like really nice food, and the airport is like 10 minutes train from the city center, so very easy to move around.
Okay, so as we are kind of segueing into talking about the collaboration with ITC Japan and the conference, the summit that is going to be on March 12th, remember, Tokyo is famous for amazing sushi, Osaka for, what's the name of the,
Okonomiyaki.
thank you very much. I don't like all the mayonnaise or whatever they put on it, but it's still freaking amazing. And then everything else is just delightful. So while we saw the culinary element of it, which I'm sure people will more than enjoy, let's talk about ITC. What's the plan? What are we doing on March 12th?
Oh Yeah, so I'm like really excited for this event. So we're doing ITC Japan the second time, and we have the backup from like financial service agency. It's definitely the biggest InsurTech event in Japan and very global as well. So we have like a full day agenda, which like has more than 25 sessions. So in the morning we have the main stage. Actually, it's really exciting that the FSA wants to come in to talk about how to make the insurtech ecosystem in Japan more active. And so the head of insurance in FSA will invite a guest speaker from insurance company and one from VC, one from a startup. So for everyone to discuss that topic like from different perspective, and I think that will be really interesting. And also, I think this is a global hot topic as well because the customer needs are changing so fast for the insurance industry. So to answer that needs, we need more diverse talents as well. So especially in Japan, we have some I think we're trying to have more women to be active in this industry and also more like foreigners or people from different industries. So we want to talk about the talents diversity as well. And for afternoon, we have two breakout rooms and we have so many global investors and like experts to come in, including yourself. So, for example, we're having the head of MSAD, CVC, John is coming as well, and also like Andrew, the head of InsurTech of Gallagher.
Hmm.
I'm a really fan of his like quarter InsurTech trend
Yes.
report. Yes, and many startups are sponsoring like in Japan and also out of Japan. Like the Hokkan I mentioned is one of the most fundraised the insurtech startup in Japan. They're going to talk about the future of like LLM, how to apply that in insurance industry.
Hmm.
And also we have like sessions to talk about like embedded insurance, like how we can really create the first the unicorn in insurtech in Japan. I think you are moderate that panel, and I'm really looking forward to it as well. And after that, we'll have like networking session. So it will be a great place to meet more people and get to know the insurtech scene in Japan.
Beautiful. So for folks who will be flying in from the US and from other locations, and let's assume because it's a long flight, well, 11 hours. What will be a perfect couple of days? It's going to be second week of March. Maybe, I don't know, it was hot this year. Maybe the timing will be good with the Sakura. What's your recommendation for 3, maybe 5 days in Tokyo?
Thank you. Okay, so yeah, so March 12th is the Tuesday of the second week of March. I highly recommend people to fly in the week before if you can make that because we have the biggest fintech event in Japan the week before is called FinSum, and also the
Hmm.
FSA is holding up together a fintech Japan FinTech Week from March 5th to 8th. That's a
Yeah, and
combine
we are
of
going to
some different.
meet on the 6th or the 7th over there. Because on the 8th I need to be in Osaka, but that's a different story. Sorry, I
Yes.
interrupted you.
Thank you. Yes, so there's a bunch of events like the week before, so definitely try to fly in. And during the weekend, I think the sakura probably will start to blossom like at some places like mid-March. But I'm not sure. That really depends on the weather. Um, I think that's the season you can still do like ski or snowboard in Hokkaido or like even like Niigata, like near just a 1.5 hour Shinkansen from Tokyo. Or if you're not into sports, like you can go down to Osaka or like Kyoto as well. Like And also, I think like many people are coming in early, and the domestic insurers are like really welcoming global talents to come in to have like, catch up. So if you want to meet any specific insurers or like insurtechs, I'm happy to be the hub to connect the people to have some like business meetings aside from the amazing food and tourism in Japan.
And if you want to do a Mario Kart in the middle of Shibuya, talk to me. We're going to arrange something. But beside that, yes, Chang, how people can reach out to you?
You can find me through LinkedIn. That's probably the most easy way.
Fantastic, Chang Li, and we'll add the link in one of the different conversation, and most likely I'll tag you, and people will figure that out because people know how to Google and how to use search. So it will be fine on that element. Now, personally, I'm just excited to go there, and of course, starting to set all my meetings in advance. I know it's a little bit more than it's 6 weeks from now, 5-6 weeks. Yes, we are landing on the 6th of March, so 5 weeks, and was definitely looking forward to meet investors who are interested in the US, companies who are interested in the investors who are interested in Japanese companies, and all that, collaboration and opportunities that will strive from there. Amazing, great. Now, anything? Let me ask you the last question that I'm asking everyone. Can you give our audience a word of advice? Something, it can be personal, it can be professional.
Interesting advice. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I will share this. I will share this say that my father told me, and I really liked it, and I keep it in my mind. So my father told me, everyone has an evil lives in your heart, and what you need to do is like, you should never let your evil out. And I really like that.
I love it. Chang, thank you very, very, very much for joining me today. It was a pleasure to talking with you about Japan Tokyo Plug and Play, upcoming collaboration with ITC, and yes, and culinary.
Yeah, thank you. I was really pleasure talking to you, and look forward to seeing you in Tokyo soon.